All right, all right, all right. Here we are back again. JB and Tell. We are here. It's been some time since we've actually done a one of our videos. So let's reintroduce. My name is JB, and that person right there is Tell. How are you today, Tell?
I'm all right. Getting over a little bit of a sickness, but I'll make it through.
Very good, very good. And we are your Gen X gentlemen. This is our podcast, and we discuss all kinds of different subject matters, but today we have a very controversial one that we want to talk about that just came came about yesterday, and it is a big one. Um, and we're going to, have a short. Let me start this time here. Have a short discussion on and give our own opinion on what's going to happen next. So, for all who don't know, the Roe versus Wade decision was overturned yesterday. What does that mean? How does that affect both ourselves as men and specifically women? Um, there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen as a result of this decision being made. But what are your thoughts on it so far, Tal? Did you hear about it from when it happened last night?
Yeah, I don't know what's prompted this back up into the fold in the last several years. Why? There's always something strategic when it comes to this government, when and the way they do things. There's a method to it. For me, look out. There's some serious stuff going to be coming back up. There was no reason for this to be overturned or reversed. It's taking away women's rights over their body, control over their body, make decisions. But there's an ulterior motive. I know this government too well, and they're going to start overturning and reversing decisions that benefit a lot of people, especially people of color,
Yes,
darker melanated. This is what I truly think is at play.
I I agree. I definitely agree. This is just a start of something. There's a lot that's involved in doing this. You know what it comes down to it. There's usually some kind of monetary type of thing happening, um, especially with our government, governing the United States. It's all about the money. Um, but this was interesting. It's 50 something years, you know, based on this happening in the 70s. And I mean, why now? You know what I'm saying? And like women have had this reproductive right for so long. Um, I have to say that just based on being a man, I mean, we don't have to we don't have to worry about it. One, we weren't never given a say based on the fact that when you do decide to make this decision, um, and I have to just be my own personal effect. I don't believe in having an abortion. And it's not a religious thing for me, but it's just the thing that it's my own belief. And I'm kind of like on the side of the President Biden, where he's a staunch Christian slash he's a Catholic. His religion doesn't um, look to do that. When it comes to Catholic, but he still believes in a women's right to their own bodies, what they do with them, and I believe the same thing. Um, I don't think
Do you
like
believe in do be, sorry to cut you, but do you believe in locking up niggas too?
oh, let's see.
That's what that good
Okay,
old boy believes in. He
okay.
and the
Well,
Clintons.
there's we let's not go there because we're gonna have another subject on that, on locking up Negroes. Okay, um, we will go there as well. We're gonna keep to this point
Okay.
because he was very instrumental in locking up Negroes.
Mhm.
So the fact that that happened, um, we won't go there right now. The one thing that we're going to stay on is the fact that now we're talking about women's rights based on their bodies, and
Mhm.
so um, it's very unfortunate. I think a lot of women are going to be triggered, right? Um, and it doesn't matter what party you're on. You're telling women you have no rights. So if they get in a situation where they're raped, where there's incest, or whether it's some form of, you know, based on where their bodies have been violated in some way, um, they're going to have to bring these babies to term. And then what? So, and what the I guess the national thing says, we're going to let the local governments, as in the states, and I guess the cities, um, decide, right? So if that's the case, there's already a bunch of states, like my state. I'm in the state of Georgia, and they have already, put their law in place that is far worse than what at the national level. They're saying that they call it, I think they call it the heartbeat law or whatever. They're saying within 6 weeks there's a heartbeat, um, and as a result of that, they're going to be even stricter than anything at the national level, and say if women has um, been pregnant for 6 weeks, it's a done deal. What are your thoughts on that?
Whew. This is all crazy to me,
Hmm.
and I just want to see where this is going to end. I uh, I believe in individuals having their rights over their bodies,
Hmm.
no matter what, even if they're reckless. You have the right to make the decision if you want to keep a kid or not, whether you were raped or whether you were reckless.
Mm.
If God is not doing anything about it, or He allows it to occur, then who are we to try to put restrictions on it?
Mm.
That everybody should have the free right to do what they want. You suffer the repercussions if it's something that's immoral,
Hmm.
uh, or what have you. You either way it goes, you take what comes with those adult decisions you make with your life and your body.
Right. This is
That's the way
true.
I look at it.
So, and not to put it, I'm just throwing a little levity out at this part of it. I heard a comedian say something to the degree of like, um, uh, as a result of this, men's pullout game are going to have to get way better. I'm just basing it on what this comedian made mention. Okay, if y'all don't know what the pullout game is, then I won't go there. All right. So we're we're our effect in terms of where we are. Um, that right there from this comedian. I forget who said it, but if you had a pullout game, you have to be on point, bruh, because there is no turning back on this thing when it comes to this law. So, um, and again, we're men, so we don't have to deal with what the ramifications are. Now, um, all the ramifications we have, which we would, is the child support, right?
Yeah,
So, so if you're figuring that, okay, some of these women are going to be forced, that's one effect that's going to be on men, because some women are going to be forced to have these children, and as a result of the men who have impregnated them, um, yeah, there's going to be some money that's going to be involved in that child support. So, where do you go from there when you decide, y'all have mutually decide that, this is not what you want, but the government is saying, nah, you're going to have this child. and you're going to pay for it.
This is going to cause a lot of people to be critical thinkers when getting involved with anyone sexually.
Mm,
It's probably going to now cause a slight spike in the amount of men that'll be leaving the country when they want to go carry on with their sexual proclivities.
leaving the country.
Yeah, leave the country. They've been doing
Okay.
it for a while. Several years now, men have been doing it, going to South America, going to the Caribbean, going these different destinations to meet up with women and have sexual encounters.
Hmm.
I think it's going to have a slight increase, not a large, but a slight increase because so many men are still stuck on messing around with their women, the good old women in the US of A, but that's going to come with repercussions. A lot of discussion is going to come up. If it's not the men, it's going to be the women for sure.
Mm,
Like, what's going to happen if I get pregnant? Unless you're using protection and I'm using protection, that'll increase our chances to over 85, 90% of not having a kid. We need to have a second discussion because I've lost my, women are going to be like, I've lost my rights. So
hmm.
if I lose my rights, you for damn sure going to lose your rights as a man. You're going to lose your money.
Uh,
That's going to be,
for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. That's going to be the case. Um, one gets to lose. You know that it's, like I said before, that you know it's going to come down to the money. Come on,
yeah.
that's what it's all about, bruh. When it comes down to it, it's about money. So who is it that you're who's it that you're going to get to pay for all of this, right? I mean,
Hmm.
if you really look at it, when it comes down to um, so you're going to force these women to have these babies. If they're underprivileged or if they cannot take care of them, who's it going to come back to?
The men,
Not just the men, but who else?
the taxpayers, the community.
Absolutely, absolutely, because they're going to go straight up to seeing about getting public assistance for these unwanted pregnancies. If you really looked at it, it's gonna increase that.
I think what's going to happen, to be honest, it can be a ploy that the government wants to get extort more money out of us as the tax-paying citizens. But I don't think they're going to allocate the funds for those type of things, the resources for these type of occurrences.
Okay.
Allegedly, certain states with lotteries were supposed to be accepting, taking in the money, and when there's not a winner, they're supposed to put it back into the funding for a lot of the teachers in
Hmm.
several states. We're supposed to be getting better compensation, and
Hmm.
that has never panned out, and people conveniently have forgotten about that. All this
Right.
so-called hundreds of millions of lottery dollars have not been reallocated back into school funding in elementary and high school levels to subsidize and help these teachers with their cost of living and their wages. So
Hmm.
the government is just going to do some slick shit again, in my opinion, and avoid it. They're going to probably use it as a tool to say, oh, well, since there's going to be a lot of pregnancies occurring and women have to have children now, we're going to be taking more tax collection up, like in the church. But funny enough, they're not going to be allocating that to help out these women. I can say that
Well,
right.
well, I mean, yes, I would agree with you. I mean, this like, but you try and wonder what are they thinking in terms of the end game when these when you now you're literally forcing these women to have these children. Those the ones that are going to be affected the most are going to be poor, the underprivileged, a lot of people of color, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when they turn around and have these babies and they come to you in terms of the government saying, listen, hey, I didn't want to have this child. You made me have this child, right? Or
Right.
I was going to jail, right? So as a result
Mm-hmm.
of me having this child, you're gonna have to pick up the bill. all these part of the bill. I mean, the father's of course going to have to pay the child support, of course. But if I can't find the father, or the father's DOA, I mean, not around, in prison, wherever, right? Who's going to pick up the tab? The government, right? So
Yeah,
what is your end game to all of that? I mean, like, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. 50-year-old law been in place, you know. Now I get how a lot of you holier than thou type folk, and they see it as a moral issue, or you know issue of like, okay, life or death type something or another, and when does life occur over science that says when life occurs within a woman's body. You know what I'm saying? It's where does this go when it comes to the end game?
I like to see where it goes because
Hmm?
it doesn't make sense right now to me why they're bringing it up unless there's some kind of form of government control over the masses.
It
And,
doesn't it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense because the mere fact that and again, I think there's so many people who are like that that may have an understanding of what um, Roe v. Wade is, and the fact that women were in back alleys and you know killing themselves over these unwanted pregnancies, and there was so many things going on behind closed doors that they finally figured out, oh, we need to do something about this. And as a result, these women were um, Roe versus Wade. The whole aspect of it was, this is my body, and I need a safe way of having to deal with these health concerns, which in this case happens to be an unwanted pregnancy. Um, so there's a lot of, I think there's a lot at stake, and it's going to affect not even the conservatives, even the holier than thou, the morals, whatever. It's going to be a domino effect in all of this, and there's going to be enough people, I think, even come November, who are going to make themselves being heard. I mean, there are already protests. I mean, look at the picture that I'm sharing here. Um, Protests are happening all over the country, and
mhm,
from what I'm hearing, all over the world. There are people in the world who are standing in solidarity. Is that what it is?
mhm.
On behalf of women here in the United States, and saying this is wrong because most of them have laws that don't do this. You know what I'm saying? But um, I think you mentioned before we were talking about people who have to go to Canada, Toronto. You know what I'm saying? Just other parts of the country and the world that they're going to be able to, yeah, they're going to have to travel to do this.
I think men, there's something brewing here, but men have been used to going to other countries to have sex, sexual
Mm,
liaisons, whatever you have. It really is going to be it's frustrating for the American women.
hmm
They're the ones who are going to be impacted with as far as sexual activity. They'll either force themselves to not want to have sex with men now because of this unwanted restriction that's placed in their lifestyle. Uh,
right.
this is reversing a lot of things. It's going to be reversing sexual liberation. There's a lot to unpack in this, and it's wickedly brilliant. There's an end game that the government's working on, and it is provocation is at the main helm of it. It's about control, in my opinion, and it's going to be revealing itself in the upcoming months and years. And we're going to
I would,
find out what it leads to, because once they've done this and they've bullied, forced their will, imposed their will on our lives with this, they're going to be doing it with a lot of other occurrences very rapidly soon. You'll see some changes in the next 6 to 8 months in lifestyle choices uh, that we won't have freedoms over anymore.
I would agree. I would definitely agree. And the majority of those who are affected, right? And there's there's going to be something else that's going to drop, some other agenda. Um, we don't know it just yet on where things are going. We just all we know is that this has been overturned. Um, so we've done about good 10 minutes on the actual uh, ruling. Let's talk about what happens next. I know you mentioned this whole men are going to have to go are going to go out of the country, whatever. But what happens to women next? What do you think are going to be the process of what they do? I think I told you about how um, this Plan B thing is like getting a little hot and heavy in terms of the people who are um, getting off the shelves now.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I can't speak too much about any other community except for the Black community.
Hmm.
And the bad state that we're in right now, men and women in the Black community, this is just going to further divide and separate those of us who are on opposite sides of the fences. We're not in agreement with one another, that is, men and women in the Black community.
Hmm.
So it's actually going to be a good thing, in my opinion, for the disarray that the Black community is in, because the brothers who have been going out the country will continue to go out the country to find women, to give them respect, who will comply, who will have sex with them, because a lot of the Black men are not getting the sex here unless they're in the top 10% of income earners. Otherwise, that the average working class man will be either starting or continuing his journeys and escapades outside the United States to have sexual liaisons. That's my opinion.
So you think that more men are going to go outside the United States to have sex because of this, because of such a law?
Um, what's taking place in the Black community? I'm only speaking on the Black community. I can't speak for the other communities because I'm
Hmm.
not interacting much with any of the other communities. I'm only impacted by my community. And it's been
Okay.
a bad state of affairs between Black men and women in America.
Hmm.
The modern mindset, feminist Black women in America,
Hmm.
and the traditional Black man. Uh, it's been bad, and it's getting worse. And this will just legitimize the stalemate. Uh, the guys who were trying to look for a decent Black woman to have relations or relationships with, well, this will be a great deterrent and will cause them who are probably starting to look outside of the United States as an option to go full steam ahead when it comes to finding a woman to appreciate them and to have relationships with.
Okay.
Because too many Black women want to be competitive with Black men and don't respect Black men. Don't think that Black men are worth much of anything because they're average income earners, a good majority of the Black in the population. So I see it actually helping out Black men come up with solutions until Black women want to compete not against Black men, but want to compete for them,
Mm.
appreciate Black men, the average working class Black men. I see all kind of crazy stuff happening from this, and there's like two or three additional stories that can unfold from it. But
Hmm.
in my opinion, it's crazy. It seems insane, but there's something brewing with the government. That's why they're doing it. They're allowing it. It's something they want to have control over, and they're trying to change the direction of what's going on in in the population.
Okay. Well,
That's
I
my
mean, well, I mean, yeah, I kind of see where you're going with the fact that there's going to be an after effect, and it's going to um, do something regarding relationship, wise. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are going to think twice, um, because they're not going to have that option of, you know, um, pregnancy termination anymore. Um, So that's going to have to factor into a lot of things in terms of when you do have sexual relations with a woman, and it's going to maybe make people think twice. Um, I mean, sex is sex. We're always going to have sex. I mean, regardless of what goes on, and yes, you should be protected. Yes, you should, have some form of, you know, protection based on not wanting to have a unwanted pregnancy. Um, but this one option is going by the wayside now. Um, these other options like the whole Plan B, um, which I think is going to skyrocket based on just um, the fact that there's going to be so many more women who are going to have to be aware of it, and the cost involved in using the Plan B. Um, what are the ramifications behind it? The whole nine. So yeah, I agree. There's going to be a lot more to come of this, and a lot more people are going to have to um, make different types of decisions, and a lot of women are going to be highly upset and affected. Um, and we're going to have to see where it all goes, based on just the fact that after 50 years, man, it's not a lot of people um, see such a law like this. Laws that we've had here in the United States
Hmm.
um, get affected. So, but yeah, um, there's going to be a lot of after effect. I would agree with you. Um,
Storms are
and
coming, man. There's all kind of havoc's gonna be wreaking all over the place soon.
mhm,
It's just gonna be interesting as this unfolds in the ensuing months.
yep,
I haven't taken time to process it. I could just see all kind of havoc coming about.
I agree.
You
I
said,
like to I like us to have a conversation with, um, like in the next, say, 6 months. Um, I'd like to have, say, by the end of this year, right around maybe even the election time, I'd like to us have a conversation with maybe even a group of women, um, and get their take on it. Because I mean, here we are, men's. Um, this this doesn't affect us directly. It doesn't. I mean, we don't control the having of sex, right?
right.
Um, so as a result of that, I'd like us to somehow uh, get some women on and have a discussion um, on what after effect it was for them, um, based on the things that are going to take place in the coming months, and kind of see
Hmm.
where revisit what we talked about, because of the fact that when it first happened, large scale protests, large scale um, people who are highly upset, but after, what are going to be, what's going to happen in these states, some of the local states, what are they going to do in enacting these laws? Are they going to put people in jail? I want. I mean, I want. Do you think that they're actually going to put a woman in jail?
I think they will.
And I'll end with that. We'll end with what are going to be the ramifications for putting women in jail?
I think they will, but I think I could be wrong, but I think they'll be using black women as the example, just like black men have been used as the examples when they start any movement.
So you think the
You know?
first person who's going to go to jail off of getting an illegal abortion is probably going to be a woman of color or a black woman?
Yeah. I think so. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Or
Okay.
just some totally belligerent, unruly white woman.
Hmm. Okay. That's something to even discuss when we have this conversation. I want to see if we can get some guests, um, you know, you know, maybe one or two women who want to come on and discuss this, because it's going to affect them way more than it's going to affect us. And in 3 months' time, or closer to the elections that are coming, a lot of them are going to make their decisions on who they vote for based on this actual ruling.
I'll tell you
So,
what, working class black women and upper working class black women, they ain't gonna be that much of a problem because we're already not coming together as a race of men and women. They're not gonna make much stink. One thing I notice about these so-called modern independent black women, they will fall in line when it comes to not mess with their money or not going to jail. They will listen to
oh,
master.
oh yeah, for real.
They'll be compliant for their job and could be compliant with their master.
Hmm.
It's the other women that are going to give the problem because black women already have a big issue with a high percentage of black women already have an issue with black men, average earning black men. They don't think we're good enough. They don't respect us. They won't compete for us unless we're in the top 10% of earners. And they still think that we should be rolling the red carpet out for them. A lot of them. That's a
Okay.
whole other topic that's going to we
Yeah,
got.
that's you shine in a way where we will get back to that. Don't worry. That's some of our normal conversations. So
Mm-hmm.
we we will get back to those types of things. This particular issue I wanted to kind of bring out mainly because it just came about just yesterday. And for all those who don't know, that Roe versus Wade was overturned yesterday, and it's a monumentous decision when it comes to those uh, women in general. Just the mere fact that their government is trying to take heed to tell them what to do about their own bodies. So, okay, all right. Well, hey, thanks again. Tell for getting on board with this discussion. Again, next time we want to hear from you. So if you would, please put some comments. Let us know in terms of what we just talked about, what we refer to. We especially want to hear from you, women who are, really going to be the ones that this is going to be affecting more than any. And you know, if you have any stories, anything that you want to share based on what we just discussed or we talked about, please share it in the comments. We would appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you got anything out of this content. We would appreciate that. Any closing remarks, Tell, on terms of where we go?
No, let's just see where things unfurl.
Very good, very good. All right, well, um, thank you again for joining us. My name is JB. That's Tell. We are your Gen X gentlemen, and this is our podcast. Please join us again on the next one.
Good night.